Welcome to this walkthrough on VoteOkla. I'm going to show you a few things about how VoteOkla works. I'm going to be running this on an iPhone simulator, so instead of a finger there's going to be a cursor, but follow it just like you would a finger. So we start VoteOkla. First thing you're going to see is it's going to notify you it is for political purposes only. Click on I agree. And we're at the main screen now. This is home. This is where we begin. The first thing you want to do before you start using VoteOkla is you have to load data. And you go down here to the load button, click on it. I'm going to load the demo, so I'm going to pick Oklahoma County. And for the demo, it's always going to be precinct 55. 0000. If you don't know what precinct you're going to walk and you need to look at a map, you can bring a county up, click precinct map, and it will bring up a map of the precinct, and you can zoom in on that map and move around or whatever and find the precinct number. This is Oklahoma County. Let's go back. So I've picked the county as Oklahoma. The precinct, since it's a demo, it's the only thing you can use for demos in VoteOkla, is 550000. So I'm going to select that. And then I'm going to load the data. The reason we do this is it prevents you from, while you're walking, you don't have to be loading data all the time over your cellular network. You can do this from home using Wi-Fi and save yourself some money and some data charges and things like that. And it'll load quicker too. A good-sized county, a large county, can take 45 minutes to load. So you want to load this when you're not anticipating using your phone for quite a bit. Okay, once data is loaded, we can start by walking. You're going to go out. You're getting ready to go canvass your neighborhood. You start walking. It's going to ask you if you can use the GPS. Click OK, because if you don't allow it, it's absolutely worthless. Okay, we've loaded our data, and now we're going to begin walking. So you're out in your neighborhood, or whatever neighborhood you're going to walk. You can click on the walk button. The GPS will locate the streets that are closest to you. The street closest to you will be at the top, and streets as they get further will go on down the line. So the closest street in our demo to me is Boomer Drive, so I click on that. And it's going to bring up all the different addresses on Boomer Drive that have voters in those addresses. So I can decide I'm going to click on 2052, go to that address. If I click the actual address, what I'll get is a summary of the people that live at that address that are registered voters that have actually voted. So Terry Ann Demo, everybody's name in our demo ends with the last name Demo, has voted in 2 general elections, 1 primary election. The last time they voted in a general election was 2002, November the 5th. Marvin Demo, 4 local elections, 4 general elections, 3 primary, 2 runoff, and the last time they voted in each one of those. If you click on the individual person, you can pull up from the Oklahoma State Election Board and pull the voter's record. This is public information available through the Oklahoma State Election Board. So anyway, that's their voter ID. They registered September 25th of 1991. This is a Republican, age 52. If you want to see a map of the area with the actual registered voters, where they are, here's a map generally showing where registered voters are and how many registered voters are in the household. I wouldn't do that out in the field too often because that will use quite a bit of data and take some time. But if you do want to look at the streets and how they're laid out and where the voters are, you can do that. Besides being able to pull up any particular street and taking a look at that. I will show you how an apartment complex works real quickly though. You click on the address, and inside it will show each individual apartment number for 1133 Redbud Lane. And it works the same way. You can click on that and see each one of the voters, or click on them individually and see their actual voting record. Okay. Also, when you're dealing with large numbers, let's go back to Boomer Drive. As you're walking down either the even side of the block or the odd side of the block, you can click on even and you'll only see the even numbered houses, or the odd for only the odd number, or click on both and get them both. Let's look at the even. Say you're walking from the high numbers down to the lower numbers. If you click on REV for reverse, it'll switch them around so that they'll be in order as you walk. If you click on hide, every time you go to a house and you click on it and get information about the person, when you go back, that address will disappear off the menu because you've already been there. You don't want to see it. So as you're walking and you're doing this, you're not going to have a bunch of old addresses showing. You've already seen the information. It's going to hide it. But if for some reason, say they weren't there when you walked by, but they drove up as soon as you got past, you can always click on show and it will show you all of the addresses there. So you can hide the ones you visited or show them, however you want to do it. Another useful thing is the filter. The filter allows you to go in and specify and target what voters you actually want to contact. For example, if you're in a local election, you might want to say, I want all new voters that have registered in the last 2 years, because you don't know if they're going to vote in local elections or not. You want all the voters that have voted in the last 5 years in any local election. And say you want, since primary voters are usually pretty reliable voters, you click primary voters also. So you're going to get a list of all new voters, a list of all, or they'll be included in the, when you're walking. All new voters, all local voters, and all primary voters. And anybody else, or any household that doesn't have a new voter, local voter, or primary voter in it's not going to show up. These are not exclusive, so it just adds. So if you said Republicans or independents also, and you click that, you'd get new voters, local voters, primary voters, and all independent voters. So once you do that, you activate your filter, and it'll come up and it'll tell you it's been activated. When you go back to walk, if we go back and look at Boomer Drive, let's click on show and see everybody. Instead of 6 or however many people we had before, this is only going to pull up voters that meet that criteria. So you can greatly reduce the number of houses you contact by targeting who you want to go out and knock on their door. So instead of an entire 2-block area of about 24 houses and then cutting that down to a dozen or so registered voters where homes where registered voters live, we've cut it down to 2 in the odd number or the even numbers, just because we've focused our voters. Take a look at this voter button over on the far right. We've already talked about the other buttons. The voter button is used for petitions primarily. If you're out trying to get people to sign petitions, it does you absolutely no good to get the signature of somebody that's not registered to vote. So you can be out and you can get, we're going to use Demo as the last name because that's who I have for demos. We use Farah Demo, F-A-R-A-H. And we've got Farah Demo's birthday is January 1st. So you would have to ask them their name and the month and day of their birth so you could look them up. And you can click the Look Up Voter button. And we find that Farah Demo, this is actually my computer's loading something right now, which is why it's running slowly, but Farah Demo, the voter ID is that. They live in Oklahoma County. It gives you the precinct number, year of birth, the city that they reside in, and their address. So you can verify people signing your petition, and you can cut down on a lot of those signatures on petitions that are going to be invalidated when it's checked. It also provides a certain degree of privacy. You can't just put anybody's name in there and get information back on them. You have to put their last name, their first name, and the month and day of their birth. So they have to give you that information to be able to look it up. That's a very quick run through of VoteOkla. There's going to be a lot of changes made to it. I think I'll be splitting out the the petition part of it from the main part. The other thing I'm going to be adding in the future is going to be ways for you to update information, so when you walk, you'll be able to do things like designate people wanting yard signs, people that want to contribute. Thinking about putting a companion website up that you can see the houses that you walked and where your yard signs are and things like that, but that's all in the future. And it is entirely run by donations, so to have reliable data, up-to-date data, and to make a lot of the changes that I'd like to see in the future, we'd really appreciate your thinking about donating. But if you don't, you're still welcome to use the program, and we're glad to help you. Thank you for sitting through the demo.